Hey everyone, welcome to Download Podcast. This week I have some friends with me. Some you know, some you don't. And for those that have been friends with me in real life for a long time, you will recognize this gentleman here, but I'll introduce him first. This is Gus. His channel is, you want to let people know what it is, what you do?
Of course, of course. My channel is Stavovich. Gonna have it typed up there as well. I enjoy streaming a lot of horror. I have a lot of fun playing it, whether it's indie or, of course, the classics such as Resident Evil and Silent Hill, and of course, all the good ones. And then, from time to time, play some nice relaxing games like Stardew Valley. So you can either check me out live on Twitch or, check out my channel here on YouTube.
All right, of course, Great White North.
Hey everyone, it's Great White North, of course. Well, back again. Um, on my channel, and we do a lot of retro gaming, mostly SNES, but we do other stuff on my YouTube channel as well. Whenever I feel like branching away from my favorite system, um, I do stream on Twitch, not as often, but I'm trying to build it up a little bit more. You can always find me at Great White North Presents, and I typically stream on Thursdays.
And Coda.
I'm Coda. I have my channel as well. I do gaming and convention stuff. I mean, it's been like 3 years, but yeah. Hopefully, I get back to it. But I always enjoy being part of the podcast. I enjoy games and all that stuff, anime, etc. So
Anime, awesome.
Yes,
yeah.
we're all anime fans here. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even a question. You can just look at us. We're like we exude the otaku nerdum.
hmm Exactly.
But
You otaku.
but for tonight, we are going to share our love of the Nintendo Super Nintendo Entertainment System console. How amazing it was, our first experience with the console, maybe what our first game we played on it was. Because some people may not have gotten the pack that came with Super Mario World. So that's where we'll go, guys. Take our turns, but let me know what was your first game on the system and maybe what your first experience with the console was.
Guess who wants to start first?
I'll
All
go
right.
ahead. Oh,
Okay. Stavovich, is that how you
yeah,
say it?
yeah. Stavovich or Gus, either way.
Okay. Yes.
All right. So my first experience was when my dad finally decided to get us the SNES, and we got the combo pack. Came with Super Mario World, and my goodness, I never stopped playing it, and have a lot of memories playing it with my sisters. And I don't know, it's just I said actually I kind of want to play it right now. I was just talking.
Agreed. Agreed.
But that was my first Super Mario World, and finding all the secrets. I still remember with me and my sisters as well.
Well, but who wants to go next? I guess.
All right. Or you want to go next, Jason?
Sure, I guess. Um, Actually, my first experience with the SNES was at my friend's place. This was before I was able to get the system myself. It took me a while to get that system. We ended up playing his Super Mario World, so he got the combo pack as well. Uh, it was a lot of fun trying to find all the hidden secrets because there's so many different paths you can do in that game. Each stage almost had two different ways of doing it, just to go into a different path, and it was so much fun. The colors and very vibrant. The music was fantastic, even for its time. Um, and then me really want the system at that time. I'm like, oh, what my own copy. Um, that was my first experience as the system goes, I guess you could say. And it took me probably about 6 months after that to get it for myself. I ended up having to work at getting it through, babysitting and things like that because I was pretty young when I first got the system. I was probably it came out what? 1991, so I was 12, 13 years old, and I never stopped playing the system in whichever way you can these days. I have the original Super Nintendo and the SNES Mini. I will never get rid of either one. I have multiple copies of my favorite game on the system, which is Final Fantasy II, or in
Beautiful.
certain areas. But we'll get all into the nitty gritty soon enough.
All right. So my first experience, not many people know that I grew up actually on a farm for at least the first 8 years of my life. But my brothers, they got really big into Super Nintendo. Oh, they had the Nintendo. They're much older than I was. But they ended up getting Super Nintendo, and they also had Genesis as well. But eventually they moved out to a different house. They lived together. They were closer in age, so they thought they worked and whatnot. But I was over at their house, and I must have been 3 at the time, but I was young, but I was still pretty aware of like the games, at least simple platformers. And the very first game I ever remember playing was Disney's Aladdin. That was the very first game I remember playing, and just like the ambiance of the room. And this carpet was, those 90s carpets were kind of strange back then, a lot of them, like they would have some cool designs. That's what they put down. But yeah, I remember them playing, and then I really vaguely remember that they played the trick of, oh, I was not actually playing. They gave me the controller. But yeah, I was like, that was still like one of the coolest events, And then later on, I was able to get it probably like when I was actually like four or something, and I was able to get one at my house, And then I was able to get some used games they didn't want, and then just go to like the Blockbuster and whatnot. Because my sister was able to rent some games as well, and my brothers would recommend games that we could rent and buy and whatnot. So, just getting into like Aladdin, the Donkey Kong Country series and all that. So that's pretty much my first experience of pretty much the games, the SNES and gaming in general. So yeah,
So would you say that and I'll tell my part here, but would you say that the Super Nintendo was your first console?
yeah, it definitely would have to be. It
Wow.
would. I mean, I definitely saw the NES probably because I know my sister hogged that thing, but I don't think she ever let me play it. She was probably like 6 years old, 6 years older than I was, so I don't think I ever got to play it. I only saw her play it, so until much later, so
Yeah.
a couple years. So
So this will take Gus back a little bit, but there was a mall near Southeastern High School, and it was Pasadena Town Square, the original one that had ponchos in it, that had a video game rental place there, or actually movie rental place there. And I actually played the Super Famicom before the Super Nintendo because they had imported it in. So I actually got
Oh.
to play Mario World Japanese and Alien Wars. So those are the first two I played because
Nice.
it was cool just being able to like go in there, you pay like whatever it was to rent the console and stuff. It was like usually for a few days. Um, but it was a really cool shop. This guy had like tons of movies and games. I mean, it put like Blockbuster and Hollywood to shame, even though like it was Video Central at the time. It wasn't even Hollywood Video.
Do to remember that.
yeah.
But yeah, and then eventually they tore down that like small mini mall and moved it to where Pasadena Square Mall is now. A little further out. Not further, I mean not too far, but like maybe like 5 minutes more away. So you had like, and it was much larger. There was arcades in there. There was a tilt. But when it was just this small building that they called a mall, it was kind of like an outlet mall. Have you ever seen one of those? Like a building that houses just different little bitty shops.
hmm
But
Yeah.
when we officially actually got one, we took our Super, I mean, we took our NES in to there was like a kiosk that was outside of KB Toys in uh Alameda Mall, which is like the big mall that was over in that area. And we traded all that stuff in. I kept like my Contra, I kept my, I think Batman and Blaster Master. But then we ended up getting like a Super Nintendo with the box, and we ended up getting Super Metroid, Super Castlevania 4, which is of course why it's one of my favorite Castlevanias outside of Symphony of the Night,
Hmm.
and Mario, of course, because it came with that. And I think one other game, but I can't remember. But I really remember those three, so it might have only been those three that we got. Because when you traded stuff in, you didn't get that much credit for things, but like you were guaranteed to get a good stack of stuff if you depending on where you went. Because this is way before FuncoLand. I mean, like a lot of the video game stores that you would do this, it was
Yeah.
like these small places that you'd find in the mall, little kiosks, outlet things that would be there that would do that. But yeah, I we were a little late to it as well because like those games are out and our buddy Mark and his brother had gotten it. We played that. We played Street Fighter over there. We played a couple other things, and we officially got ours. And then it was just really cool just to experience all that stuff. But yeah, that's my first foray into the Super Nintendo and my memories of it as far as at the beginning. Now, what stands out when you think about the Super Nintendo for you guys? Like memorable moment, a game that like blew your mind away, like visually, graphic wise, storytelling, the tightest mechanics for platforming. What was that one thing that kind of like stood out, or maybe multiples, just depending on the because there was a lot going on for that system.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess I could go first on this one. Even though I was younger when it came out, well, when it was out, I did definitely see the NES. My sister playing that, and I got to play like TMNT 2. But then just jumping to that to Turtles in Time and seeing like the sprite work and the just the like the backgrounds of Turtles in Time or other games like that. Even back then, you just blow your mind of how the graphics advanced. Even though as a young kid you might not even think you just pretty lights, pictures and stuff, simplistic form of that. But yeah, no, just that, and then just the music in general, like from like Turtles in Time, Donkey Kong Country, Castlevania,
Mhm.
all these amazing OSTs. I think just I could like even still just to this day, I still pull up like SNES greatest hits or just SNES playlist of stuff, and just amazing soundtracks and whole, and of course all the nostalgia of like having friends, family come over and all that, even during like the PS2 time, like yeah, we would play the PS2, or even in the PS3 360 if we had like family come over, cousins, whatever, we would still go back to the NES and play like Turtles in Time or other beat 'em up games or whatever, just great, great time, uh, we would always just even friends we would just go back, even up till high school we would still play that, go back to the 16-bit era more so than other generations, and play those together and just have a hell of a time, so that's pretty much summing it up pretty quick, but that's pretty much from just the 16-bit sprites to the soundtrack to just the overall nostalgia of everything about the system. So
It
Nice.
is.
Jason,
Well,
what you got?
um, the mechanics of that system, hopefully. Um, no, what I loved about that system is whenever you did pick up any of their games, almost every game out there in the system library, it had something going for it because of the way the system is built. Um, even one of the more, you know, not good games, there's something about it that was charming about it.
Mhm.
What got me though is whenever I was playing games such as Castlevania 4 at the time was holy crow, I can move this guy in so many different ways and the width and things like that. And you're coming off of playing a game like Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, and it was very clunky and compared to it, even though I love those games, don't get me wrong. Um, and then the music hits so well. Then I got to the RPG scene. That's where it really got me. I did play a couple of the RPGs on the NES, such as Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior and all that, and I was enjoying those. They were very different to me. I really liked Final Fantasy for its more RPG style because of the D&D. Then, when I first played Final Fantasy 2, I got hooked. The story in that really captivated me. As a kid, especially, you're playing games like Super Mario beforehand, and you're playing this. Holy crap! Um, and it was so fluid and fast, and the music, the story, the characters, and everything. And that's what clinched me for the system itself. And I kept looking for the next best RPG on that system, and they were knocking out hits after hits after hit, in my opinion. Like you're going from 2 to 3. Well, Final Fantasy 6 over, I think the whole numbering system that they did, and then Chrono Trigger and what's that other one I used to play a lot? Like I played a lot of their action RPGs such as Soul Blazer, and then there's ActRaiser. Like the system itself has so many good different games in different genres. If you like platforming, we got that in spades. Same thing with RPGs. Even the odd weird looking horror game that you can possibly play. Um, I just couldn't get enough of that system, and to this day, I go back to it. Like I can't get enough of the 16-bit, and yeah, I could probably keep going gushing over the system all night. But there's other people on the panel, so we've got to give them a little bit of time.
Yeah. No worries, no worries.
Yeah,
If you want to be passionate about it, be passionate about it. That's what people want to hear. I want to hear it. So,
Oh, for
sure,
sure.
for
and if they don't
sure.
want to hear it, you know what? I'm sorry. That's their problem.
Go play the system you haven't played it yet. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I would say to
Mm.
that.
yeah.
Agreed.
I want to say, because you're mentioning most memorable moment, and you guys kind of, talked about, mechanics and stuff. And but I thought about this moment. It's like a moment. It's between my sisters and myself in a very beautiful game called Final Fantasy 3. We we played it all the time, like all the time. They would want to play it, I would want to play it. The music, the story. I don't know how many times when we went through it, but the memorable part is that the fights. Oh my goodness, we would fight and hide the game from each other. That it, like it was like ridiculous. My mom was like, "I'm gonna break that game if you guys don't get along. Y'all need to take turns." And I don't know. To be honest, I don't know what happened to my beautiful game. I think it
Um,
just I think it disappeared in the night. You know,
I wonder which sister has it. I got a pretty good guess.
it's like, and I will find you. What happened? It came back. But yeah, that's the memorable moment, and you know, Final Fantasy 3. I will always go back to you. You know, for the story, the music. Like even still now, me and my sister still talk about it. It wasn't my first Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 2 was my first, but Final Fantasy 3, it definitely holds a very special place. Not only because me and my sisters were beat each other up to get it, but we all loved it. And that was the one that we all agreed on.
Definitely a good game.
Oh yeah, man, so many great moments. We talked about this on the previous podcast about like the suplexing the train with Seven and you know uh Shadow being such a cool character, and then you got all of his backstory. And, yeah. Um, but man, for me, I'm gonna go with something a little different. And that was instead of going over Chrono Trigger, because I've gushed about this game a lot. And that's I have so many memories, and I'll probably get into that in a little bit. But Donkey Kong Country.
yeah.
I remember getting that for Christmas and playing it over and over and over again. And I remember like I was trying to like beat my time. Like I would start it over because I beat the game in 5 hours or whatever. Let's try to get it down to 4. And it's like I was doing speed runs before like I even knew that was a thing. But the visuals for Donkey Kong Country were so cool. And like to find out that they were pre-rendered 3D that was animated. It wasn't like it was actually like, you know, polygon like what we were going to get with later on PlayStation games. It would just look so good. And the music was so good. And it was just like it was hard to top that for me with like most platforms because I love Mario World. I love going through and finding all the secrets and like 100%ing that game because it was just fun to do and play it over and over again. But there was just a magic with DKC. And like, I skipped originally 2 and 3 because I was moving on to the PlayStation. And I felt that like 2 is like, why do I want to play a game called Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3 when the title character isn't even in the game? He's not even an unlockable character, right? But I just remember like sitting there, like eating like a little Debbie playing Donkey Kong Country, and it was probably one of the oatmeal cream pies, and just sitting in that apartment that we were at. And I think this was like right before we moved to Pasadena from Deer Park. So it would have put me on the course to meet Gus. It put me on the course to meet like my friend Edward that I'm still friends with that we played Gears of War with just recently. Um, so many friends, so many more outside of the small group of friends that I had at in Deer Park. But it was like that game that transitioned me from being a child to a teen, because then I started getting into movies, started watching John Carpenter stuff, and so it was like that, like the last game of my innocence. Because after that, it was like Final Fantasy. It was more RPGs because I had been playing Zelda. I had been playing. I mean, Link to the Past is the greatest Zelda game ever. I don't care what anybody says. To me, it is the greatest. Can't beat.
It's in my top three, so don't worry. You got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I
To my
mean,
top three for sure too.
Castlevania 4 and so many great stuff. And then on the cusp of changing into the RPG scene, like playing Final Fantasy 3, then 4, then Mystic Quest, then the Breath of Fire series. And there's a magic to the music and the sound effects that you get with that era that stands the test of time. And but it was one of those things. It's like I can't get over. I loved DKC a lot. I still have I don't have my original copy. I don't even have the box. I have the uh the themed Super Nintendo set that came out, but I got that secondhand later on, way later on, closer to like now than when way back then. So I don't even have it complete in box. I have a manual for it at least, but I don't have the box or the inserts. It'd be cool to have that one game complete.
Yeah,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, man. I have to talk about DKC. I think that's probably like my top three games of all time. Like if you just have to split it up, especially if there's not like you could only have like one JRPG or platformer, etc., or one per genre. DKC definitely makes that list for sure on the top three. So much nostalgia for me as well. Just like anytime like I was in a relationship, I would or just a friend, I'd be like, you gotta play DKC or you can't be my friend. That's the bottom line. You gotta try it out. And everyone that I brought over loved it. And it just so many good memories. And I kind of agree with you on that time, like trying to beat your time. I think what was your quickest time? I think the quickest I got was like an hour and 50 minutes, or maybe an hour and 40
I
minutes.
think I was close.
Yeah,
Because I mean, because after a certain point when I started playing other things, I just completely moved away from it. It's like I think I got it like an hour and 40, maybe
yeah,
50. I'm not even sure. I don't even remember now. It's just like I know I kept on playing it. And then, like I would find shortcuts. I'd find those little bitty hidden areas that were in the
Mhm.
game that you could drop in that were barrels that would put you towards the end of the stage. So like the harder levels had quick shortcuts to beating them easier, like the Minecart Madness. You
yeah.
have like you jump off right at the very beginning of the stage into a barrel and it takes you to the end. you know.
And the chaotic ambiance, that soundtrack is so freaking popular for even people that have never even no, they don't even know where that game like that song came from. Dave Wise did a wonderful job, and I don't even know if he what other games or any things he's composed, but everyone knows him for that for sure. You know, yeah.
And I would even say too is the fact that I don't know how many of y'all entered into the Blockbuster challenge to play DKC. I was number one for like all the way up to like the last week, and then some kid came
Really?
in and beat my time, and I couldn't get back to the Blockbuster quick enough to do the challenge again. Because like the last time we
Dang.
went, we didn't have time. We just grabbed some stuff and left. And my dad was
Yeah.
like, "All right, we're gonna come back so you can beat your time," and I never did. So it's like I got second place. I don't remember what I won, but it was still cool to enter
Yeah,
into
yeah.
these competitions. It started my fuel of wanting to compete in like fighting game and other thing competitions like that. So
Oh, you even held a few of them.
I did. I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I was too young for to enter that, like even back then. But I
Hmm.
wonder what years did that take place? I always heard about it, but I never.
Let me look. I can look it up.
Yeah. When did you get to play the second or the second and third one, Vince, or at least the second one? Third one you could probably skip. I like the third one to some extent, but third second one's definitely good as well.
I started playing those like really honestly probably because I think I dabbled in them, but I never like completed them completely
Oh,
until
still?
no,
Okay.
no, I have. And that was
Okay.
on when I got the mini.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I got the mini console, I put all that stuff on there and I actually just played through all of them. And I was like, okay, I still
Yeah.
like the first one the best. I just it
Yeah. I
perfect
agree.
level design. It was like DK was there. I still think the music's better on the first one.
Yeah.
But
Bramble Blast, which is the vine with all the little, that one soundtrack's good in the second one, but I can't really think of any notable ones that are at least compared to every stage in the first one. Like every stage in the first one has, I mean, amazing soundtrack. Um, but I remember going into Sears, I believe it was Sears, and they had the display for SNES. And I think I mentioned it last episode, or at least when we talked about Earthbound. They had Earthbound, but then they also had just the display of DKC2, and they had that as like the demo unit for DKC. So I remember playing that. That was fun. But
so DKC was August. Well, I thought it was longer than that, but it was because I guess we did go more often than not. But it was
yeah.
literally, at least from what the AI is telling me, August 19th to the 21st of 1995.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was too young. I was like two at the time, so
I was 18.
okay.
Wow.
I was 12.
Well,
Yeah, I would have been 13 because I hadn't had my birthday yet. This is in August.
I'm the oldest. Okay.
Yeah.
that was two-player too, even though like the second player really didn't get a turn unless you tagged them in. And so if you're really good, they really never got a shot. But
Hmm.
but yeah, it was cool.
Those games are a lot of fun. I did like part one a lot. I liked the graphics at the time. Like it really pushed the boundaries of the system.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I didn't expect the to be that at all when you first play it, and it's like, whoa, okay. We went from like being cartoony and pixel art and to that. What
Hmm.
Rare did it such a good job. I personally love part two as well. Not as much as part three, but yeah, really awesome games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to me, it was part one for sure, and it definitely is the most memorable music. It's probably, to be
Yeah.
honest, I don't remember two or three's music. It was for me, it was one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let me get to the next question. What was let me see where no, I don't want to ask that question. That's not so what was some of the games you remember picking up? Like when you could pick them up, did you get them for your birthdays? Did you get them for like birthday, Christmas? Did you mow lawns and you were picking up systems? Like, were you doing a side hustle at the time in school, selling
It was
candy?
it was a side hustle.
I
There
like
was this,
that.
yeah, it was a side hustle for sure. There was like a magazine that came with a little pamphlet. It was like a fundraiser thing. You go sell these things, you can get this much money. And I remember I was after Super Mario RPG. I remember the whole summer I went around getting people to buy things, even forcing my uncles and aunts to buy it. And then finally I had enough to get Super Mario RPG. But I mean, yeah, I was hustling, that's for sure. And trying to sell these weird porcelain angels that came in the booklet and stuff. I remember my uncle asked for change and I forgot to give him some change.
That the funny thing about that is like you're selling angels. You know how like super, I mean, religious types back then were like video games were the devil, especially RPGs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so they were giving a Super Mario RPG for selling crystal angels? No.
They didn't know what I was trying to get with the money.
No, true, very true. Yeah, yeah.
Fair.
Hey, at least I remember that Super Nintendo cartridge in your. I remember like going over to your house, we're hanging out, and I see that card. I was like, dude, this game is amazing. And we sit there and talked about it for like two
Yeah,
hours.
dude. Goodness. Good times, man. Good
Yeah.
times.
Uh, but yeah, go ahead. Coda, what about you? What were some of the
So at least for me, at least I was probably about four-ish, five when I was really getting into it. So it was at the transition, of the PS1, and the next generation. So it was obviously I eventually did. I think I got a PS1 in '98. But from what I remember, it was a lot. The SNES games were dropping in price. Obviously, my brothers bought what they wanted. They had jobs, they were able to buy what they wanted, but they were the type of gamers that once something new came out, they didn't really care about the older stuff, which was good for me because I got a lot of hand-me-downs from them. So by all means, bros, by all means.
bring it my way?
Yeah, but eventually there was this thing that even back then we would go to. It was a flea market, and it was very big, and they would have plenty of used SNES games, and I got a lot from there, and just smaller, used game stores. I know Game Exchange was pretty big at the time, uh, and then that one was good, so that's predominantly where I would get it. Um, yeah, and I would mainly have to wait till my birthday or Christmas or something like that. But if garage sales, especially back then, they would sell stuff for like a buck or two. So that was a gold mine. Especially back then, no one even
No one was
considered.
collecting games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go collect. I just wanted to have them, and I was kind of OCD, so I never got rid of the games I had. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got my game collection. I never really sold any of my SNES games, so I have all my original SNES games. I only lost like a few
Nice.
PS2 games, but that's about it. But yeah, that's pretty much my story on how I got my games. Yeah.
Now, for me, it was a lot of babysitting, and for a while, I was doing the paper route as a kid to buy any of those games, and it would have been like getting the system itself, and then uh, I don't know, every RPG I can get my hands on, I suppose at the time. But I didn't do that many on side hustle, other than possibly trading with my friend or um, trading at the store itself, because then we had this place called Microplay, and you can do buy, sell, trade kind of thing, and that's what we would do. Is if, oh, there's a new RPG, oh, I'm kind of down with this one. In hindsight, I kind of wish I had those games still, but I would trade in what I could, and that's how I got Chrono Trigger and Earthbound and all those other great games at the time. Yeah, it was just mostly that. That's how I was doing it. Flea market once in a while if I was happening to go with my mom or something like that and find something, or a garage sale. if you can find somebody that's doing yard
Yeah.
sales and things like that, just getting rid of their games. Like, oh, there's a treasure there. That's what I did. Get anything back then, especially when you're not making the biggest amount of money, but every time you get it, you feel like, it's mine. I got it now, and
Yeah.
get to play that next game.
Mhm.
So,
Man, like most of the time it was birthdays and Christmas. Like I'd get a game
mhm.
from my dad, get a game from my grandmother, you know. But then it was also Toys R Us would have like they would have these outlet bins. Like you go in and they'd be like, all right, here's like a bunch of stuff we're not selling that we have overstock on. And they're like 5, 15, $20. And I remember that's how I ended up getting my original copy for Super Godzilla, my second copy of Super Castlevania 4, and in one other game. But then that's remember, like I remember we talked about this before, like they had a bin full of the Art Brown complete in box for like 10, $15 maybe. And I just didn't know what the game was. If I would have known it was an RPG, I would have jumped on that in a
Yeah.
heartbeat. But then it was also like we would go to garage sale hunting. We would go to flea markets. We would go to like Babbage's and Electronics Boutique, Funko Land. Yeah, you would trade stuff in. I remember I traded in a bunch of stuff to get Super Return of the Jedi when that came out because I'm a big Star Wars fan of guy. Of course, you guys know, and I
Mhm.
love I love those super Star Wars games. I know people say they're hard, but I love them and they're fun.
Hmm.
I don't know what it was about like the music, the sprite style, the just exploring like different planets that were in the movies, being on Hoth, Tatooine, man, Endor. So it was like great stuff. But I have a memory of something I wanted to share. So back in like 92, or it was like 91, 92, my dad opened up a comic book shop. And I remember going through the process of us setting it up and painting the walls. And even when the shop was running, I'd have my Super Nintendo with my little small CRT and be sitting there playing like Street Fighter, Super Ghost and Goblins, and I remember hearing about Mortal Kombat at the shop for the first time and us going to go check it out at Super Track. Man, it was just like some really cool just stuff that I like a flood back of memories of like being at that shop and then playing my Super Nintendo. Because I'd play it religiously all the time.
Heck yeah.
So did y'all always have the main unit, or did you get the mini as well? Like not the mini console, but like the smaller, the junior, Super Nintendo Junior.
Oh, I don't think I ever did. I think I always had the main unit. Like
Yeah,
until they
I
got
was.
the SNES Mini, of course, but I don't think I went with the other one that they did. I don't remember it as well.
I don't remember either. We had the main one.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think I knew
Same.
anybody that had the junior unit. Most of us had just the standard Super Nintendo that eventually yellowed.
Yes. My goodness.
Yeah. So of like every system, like even like the original NES, I had the original variant, SNES. I never, I even like even if it was like, I never waited, or even if I had to wait, it would still always be cheaper to buy the original unit. So that's what I'd end up with. I never ended up with like the second variant of any system ever, even to this day. So,
I've had multiple of the different versions, like the Genesis, the model, at least the Model 2. I ended up
uh-huh.
my wife had the Model 3. Um, I think I've owned every version of the PS3. Even though the PS1 had multiple different variants as far as like the model unit, which had different
Uh-huh.
stuff where they took out the serial port in the back so you couldn't use the Game Shark for anything anymore, or like the play import games or burn games with with the rubber band trick that you could do.
Okay. Oh, really? They took that out with the
Hmm.
rubber. Okay.
Yeah, because you could do it with the first two generations, and then when they got to the three and four,
Uh-huh.
that feature didn't work anymore. So you couldn't like trick it into thinking disc swapping and
Oh, okay.
yeah, which goes into another question. Like, did you ever modify your Super Nintendo to be able to play import games like on the Famicom or Super Famicom?
Didn't
No.
know how. I didn't know anything
Yeah.
about that.
So if you take your Super Nintendo, there's like, do you have your Super Nintendo next to you, Jason?
Not the main console. I just have the mini out.
Okay.
Mine's in the tote somewhere
So
in my
if you
pocket.
look at a Super Nintendo cart, you have these little bitty these slots right
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
you can actually take a soldering gun or something to break those tabs on your Super Nintendo,
Oh shit.
Oh
and it would
yes,
allow you to be able to play import games. But also, what you could do is do the same thing if you didn't want to mess up your Super Nintendo. You could take your Game Shark and break the tabs on that as well. Put your Famicom games in there, use it as a pass through, and it would work to
That's
play import
awesome.
games. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. I forgot all about that. Yes.
even if I did, I probably wouldn't have had the balls to try it because I knew if I broke it, it would have been done.
I never did it till later. Um, like none of my systems right now have that, but I did do the whole thing with the Game Shark. You just kind of take the stuff on the back and break it, and you can just put your family Super Famicom card in there and then put it in your system, and it would work perfectly
Mhm.
fine.
Wow. I had never knew that.
Yeah.
So the only system I ever hacked was the Wii, and this was like back in 2008. Like I found some thing to do it, and then, but the thing was, you were supposed to have a USB, and I was too poor to buy a USB, so I couldn't do nothing with it after I did it. Right. So I was like, okay, well, that's but
Yeah, and you could do that on the Genesis as well, like the Model 1 Sega Genesis. There's like two things you can break on that, and you can play import games on so you can play Mega Drive games on there.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Pretty
Um,
interesting.
Yeah, I never knew this.
Oh, another thing I don't know if we talked about was the Super Game Boy. You know the cartridge you could put
Dude,
Game Boy.
yes.
I love that thing. That
That's
thing
true.
mhm.
is freaking awesome.
Freaking
I,
great. What's funny is like there was people that were taking and this is years later, but they were taking like Pokemon and then taking out the board, taking the Super Game Boy, putting them in, and then making a custom cartridge for that would work in your Super Nintendo with the color pack. But
Oh,
it would only play the Pokemon game because it was you know it was
Yeah, yeah.
inserted in there.
that's
okay.
great.
But I like that's cool. I'm glad people are modding these things to be able to play like games they want on. Could you imagine like Game Boy Colors working on that?
Yeah. That would be.
Sure.
Playing Metal Gear on a Metal Gear Ghost Babel on your Super Nintendo? But
Yeah.
unfortunately
Would
not.
you would you think would it be profitable or even just like some like hobby profitable? Like you don't even need to make a bunch of money off it. Like if you could develop your own games and your own carts and everything. I know when and like do you think it would be like people would support that if you just start making just strictly like Super Nintendo and Genesis games? Do you think that would be like
I
any
there is a market for it. I mean, you think about people making games and porting them over to the Dreamcast. You have people like that did the Xenocrisis and they
Mhm.
released versions of it on the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the PSP, and all that stuff were the car. Oh well, not PSP, but it was the Vita.
Okay.
And, Limited Run has been able to do a lot of that stuff too because they've released stuff. So I'm pretty sure there is a market for it. You just got to develop the game
Yeah.
that people are going to buy.
And you
Hmm.
need to market it well enough so people know about it and
Hmm.
get the hype out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, because like I have, which would be a question. Do you guys pick up reproduction carts or hacks on physical carts?
I don't have any personally, but I wouldn't be opposed either.
So I got this from, I think it's like Retrobit or something. I have to look at the name, but
Uh-huh.
they go to certain conventions and they have like multi carts. So like this one here is a multi. Let me see if I get this to come up. Hold on. Let's see. Let me
You
get it to
pull
my
up at
face. There you go.
okay, there we go. We
So
got it.
this is Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 3, and Secret of Mana
Oh hell yeah.
on one
Oh,
cart.
That's pretty
And
cool.
dude,
now
that is a nice
I would buy
mix.
that. No,
Oh
no lie.
yeah.
you could definitely tell it's a reproduction, you know,
Yeah.
because it's not on your standard gray cart like, one of these here. But it's really cool. It's heavier than a regular Super Nintendo cart because I'm pretty sure all the chip stuff that needs to be in this to run right. But it plays perfectly fine on your Super Nintendo. The versions of these are like I think they went in and retranslated the dialogue for all three games. So like they're like I think the fan game translations,
Oh,
not the
interesting.
Square. So
Oh,
and what's cool is like for when you're playing Chrono Trigger, I believe Frog is actually named Glenn and already at the start, and then Magus is named Janus, and then there's some other characters that were renamed to be a certain thing that kind of references the story better than what was done originally. Um,
Huh.
but it's really cool to have this, be able to play it. So I just don't know if you guys pick up like these carts or like the reproductions, especially stuff
Oh,
like you think of Aero Fighters. It's super expensive game. It's like I want to play this game, but like I didn't do emulation, but I have a cart reproduction cart for it, and you can definitely tell it's a reproduction. It's not like I can't resell it as if it was a real thing.
yeah.
yeah.
But do y'all dabble in that at all? Like any reproductions or
I have it
ROM
myself,
hacks?
but man, those are beautiful. I
Yeah,
mean, right now the I'm barely trying to get is that Raspberry Pi, so it's the what I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
yeah. I bought this one. It's 3 by 3 eyes. Like obviously it's a repo cart or
Yeah,
something.
it's kind of pinkish.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
It
Three by
really
So,
three.
is.
but it was only a Japanese game. But I'm like, I would buy like a bunch of Japanese games like this if a company did it, and obviously if they weren't like trying to like rip me off or something. But
Oh
I
yeah.
wouldn't mind supporting that, because obviously it's like, I mean, people say, oh, it's pirating, but I'm like, okay, you're gonna tell me to play like a digital ROM anyways, like, what's the difference?
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Well, and on top of that, you think about it like for this here, for this one, like I
Mhm.
have all three of these games on cart, and I have them on the Switch. It's like I have multiple ways to play this, but
Yeah.
it's cool to be able to like have this where it's like I have three games I want to play at any given time, and I
Hmm.
can run with it. There's
Yeah.
nothing
No, I
wrong with
like
that.
that. No,
No.
no.
Pop
Yeah.
it in and go. Yeah.
No, I want it now.
Yeah, so do
Yeah.
I.
Yeah, look, you can even see the. Hold on, let me see if you can even see the battery over here. I gotta make sure that battery doesn't ever go out, but.
That's
I
so
mean,
cool.
it's good quality. It feels just like holding a Super Nintendo cartridge. It's got a little bit more groove, like texture to it than a standard
Mhm.
cartridge. And but
Where did you gotta let me know where you got that.
yeah,
So
I have that company bookmarked because
Oh, they have a
Yes.
website?
they have a website and they show up to
Mhm.
like Retropalooza. They're usually at Comic Palooza. Most gaming conventions within the I think Texas area, but I think they have branched out to other locations before.
But they would ship to us?
Yeah, they'll ship. Yep.
You just cost me a lot of money, Vince.
I know, right?
I do that to a lot of my friends. Don't worry, I do.
He already did it to me. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh,
Yeah, he's done it to me before too, so but
He's been doing it
gonna
for
have to check
years.
that.
You can't get away with this anymore.
I can't. Yeah. Yeah, right. Go talk to Josh. How many times I've talked him into talking about buying figures and stuff
Right.
he wants, but he's like, I need to wait. Or let's see. Which because this is one of the things, like what do you feel about clone systems or homebrew games and the quality of these the of the product that's being produced. So, I mean, going back to like something like this, the a hack reproduction, but like homebrew games, people that go in and they take like Chrono Trigger and they made Crimson Dawn, where it's a whole new story but uses the assets and stuff, or like the cursed Sega Sonic game.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
I really do like finding those homebrews or hacks or whatever you want to call them. I'll go hunt them down. I've done that with the Super Metroid homebrew games because I played Super Metroid 3 so many times. I can beat that game without dying. I can beat that real quick. So I wanted to challenge myself. Um, they're a lot of fun, honestly. It's amazing what you can see people do with these already established information there and just twist it around enough just to me feel like a whole new game again. Oh, I love doing playing those. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
no, no, I like
It,
them as well, man. I don't mind them at all. And if I come across it, just like whenever it's like music, whenever they do cover songs, I enjoy them just as
Yeah.
much as the
the
original.
originals, yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to dance.
So let's look at this. We'll go with this question here. Um, what do you guys think about like, or what are some of like your favorite games that have the best soundtracks? Like that think of things that like haunt you to this day that are like if you hear it, it just instantly transports you back to like a period of time in your life that things were better, or maybe getting you helping you get through a hard time. Because I think of like Chrono Trigger, you got the Corridor of Time. I used to go to sleep to that music. It was music that I was using to help my son go to sleep. My
Uh-huh.
favorite song out of the whole soundtrack. But then you think of like when you start up Secret of Mana and you hear the whale sounds in the background and the music starts playing, that just that simple melody, and then it goes into it. Final Fantasy 3 with the Magitech armors with Terra and Biggs and Wedge, and they're walking through the snow to get to Narsh, and just like, and then the intro plays of like showing everything that's going on, like those certain the moments. Like, so what are some of y'all's?
Oh, dude, right now, Yoshi's Island. You pop that cartridge in, you hear the waves, the
Oh,
seagull,
heck
and then
yeah.
the drum
Mm.
slowly comes in, and then you hear the little, and then comes in, dun, dun, ba-da-dun, dun, 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 dun. I'm
Yeah,
butchering
yeah.
that, but you guys know exactly. Like when you mention something like that, that's what makes me. It goes to that one, and then I think my gateway into rock music was Mega Man X. So, 'cause,
Bam, bam, bam,
uh,
bam. Yeah.
and after that, chase those that guitar music now. I want to say it's because of Mega Man X too.
Oh, true. There's so many,
Yeah,
so many
yes.
OSTs that you can go through. Some of which, like Final Fantasy 3, for instance, that you were saying. One of my favorite tracks that as soon as I hear it, it just brings me right back to that game. And that's Realm's theme. It's just a nice melody and just plays nice. And you're like, that is so calming.
Hmm.
And you're like, wow, this game is crazy with its, kept being crazy and everything. Uh, and then you go back to that song and you're like, I'm in a nice town for now, but nice town. Um, that song gets me every time when I play that game. uh, Final Fantasy 4 or 2, whenever you first turn on the game, you hear that the theme song for the
Yeah.
game itself. Um, and then you see the slowly fade in, the airship's going. You're like, all right, I'm in. Let's do this epic journey. Um, so many good soundtracks, even Castlevania. When you first open up Castlevania 4, that opening start. and and it kicks in Diamond's theme. And yeah, there's so many good memories with
So
the
I had to get
system
it
just
on.
because.
I had to get it on vinyl, so don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. It's just uh each game has some uniqueness to its
That's
music.
true.
Illusion of Gaia, I will play that over and over again because every area, like major dungeon, is actually something in our world, just in a fantasy setting. Like Angkor Wat, that theme song was fantastic. I will listen to the soundtrack to this day. Um, yeah, I can go on and on with any of the soundtracks because it just brings you back to
Mhm.
playing it again. The like, for
The
instance,
Dark World theme from The Legend of Zelda.
theme exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
That was
Um,
my ringtone for the longest time.
nice. Chrono Trigger, one of my favorite tracks, is actually whenever we get to the where Janice and Shala is from. That
Yeah, it's a Kingdom of Zeal. Yeah, that's the Quarter of Time.
yeah,
That
agreed.
song's so good.
It's just spot on. Yasunori did such a good job with that. I believe that's he did that music,
I
right?
think so. Yeah.
Matsuda. Um, so many great composers. I might have mixed it up, but who knows? Um,
Think about Donkey Kong Country, just the beginning when you hear the da na na, and then it goes into that freaking like
yeah.
techno music. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could listen to that forever. Or the underwater melody.
Such a
Yeah,
good theme.
Yeah.
Such a good theme. Um,
strong.
yeah, you can go on and on with any of the soundtracks on that. Oh, yeah. I listen to them to this day. I put on playlists and listen back then music. Oh yeah,
Well, we never left it, so it's not back then in music. It still
Yeah.
that's
resonates in our
that
heart and our memories.
true. That's true.
That's why, like, you can ask Gus. I was always this whole thing of like, I can't stand like the term retro. It's like I never left it. Like I never, I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm nostalgic for it, but I'm not that nostalgic for it because I never left this stuff. I still do it on a regular basis, play these games. But then again, there's times that like I'll go 10 years with a game I haven't played in a while, and like I get it again, or I start playing it, like with Shadow Destiny. That was so great, and that has such haunting music that like it works with what you're dealing with the storytelling and the world. But yeah, there's so many like that are so good. Like, so
Yeah.
what's one that stands out the most to you guys? Just name me one outside of like. Well, I mean, I guess Gus did give me just one. He gave me the Yoshi's Island.
That's really too hard, man.
That's
I'll give you that.
a lot of
Uh,
soundtracks for sure.
Final Fantasy 3. It's just
Realms theme.
well, not just Realms theme though, but like from beginning to end, Nobuo Uematsu did it's a nearly perfect soundtrack. It may not be my favorite Final Fantasy. It's close, but that's four.
Hmm.
But Vince and Oda knows this already. But
Yeah, yeah.
and that's a great soundtrack in its own right. But three, when you hear a track from that particular game, you know it's Final Fantasy 3 or 6, however you want to look at it.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where you are, unless you never played a Final Fantasy and you don't know anything about it. That's the only way you're living under a rock. You don't know the game. But any track in that game, once it pops on, you're like, oh, that's Final Fantasy 3. It hits you every time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that'll be the outstanding soundtrack to me. The other one would have been Chrono Trigger, and the third would be Earthbound because it's just way too quirky uh, of a
Bum, bum,
soundtrack.
bum, bum.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, when you're in the town.
The final boss theme,
Yeah.
it sounded like very 8-bit, and then it gets into that really hard rock stuff. And I'm like, what am I listening to? This is not what I had thought out of an Earthbound. The entire game was not like this. So That's another memorable one. So those would be my top three if you were to go into top three only. I have
Okay.
many others.
Yeah. Mine would have to be Chrono Trigger or Donkey Kong Country at least. But I mean, it's so hard because even shitty games on Super Nintendo, like, I wouldn't say that's crap, but like Top Gear, the racing game, has an excellent soundtrack. Like, I don't even like racing games, but that soundtrack's good. Saturday Night Slam Masters has a good soundtrack, which so it's hard to like just pick another one, like um, even like what's that terrible Simpsons game? Bart's Nightmare, I think.
Ugh.
One of the levels has a really good or it has a catchy tune and just makes it like nice, But it's just like even bad games back then had some pretty good soundtracks.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. You really can't. I mean, I guess you could say um there might be like more modern games that might have like bad modern games, but I don't really see that like past probably like the PS2 era of bad games having good soundtracks, usually.
Yeah, that's a good point. Usually, there's really good composers with games, even if they are terrible or not. It's like you don't really ever get a. I take that back. Resident Evil Director's Cut has a really horrible, horrible soundtrack.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah,
But there's a whole story behind that, and that's a whole different podcast in its own right.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
really want to
yeah,
get
yeah,
into it.
yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, that's a bad soundtrack. Oh my God, that's terrible.
And so to the because I gave examples, right? Yeah, Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games of all time. It is my favorite game of all time. I love
Hmm.
that soundtrack. But there are three games, actually, technically four games on the Super Nintendo that I absolutely love and adore their soundtracks over more than anything. And that is the Super Star Wars games
Hmm.
and the Adventures of Indiana Jones, because you get that feeling you get when you watch these movies with these games, because
Yeah.
they put no stop to the level of music because it was Lucasfilms doing the soundtrack for this, even though it
Hmm.
was like Lucas Arts and it was LJN, not LJN, it was the JLV, I think it was, or
Oh, I know
JVL.
it.
JVL was the I think the game
Yeah.
company, yeah. But those games are great, but the music just took it to a whole new level. Like I remember, like when you get to Endor and you're hearing the Ewok village, not the just like the music that's
Yeah.
going. Like even with Hoth, or when you're in the space, like for Empire Strikes Back, the music that plays when they're in the meteor, the asteroid field and stuff, and they're trying to get out of it and stuff. I was just like all that great stuff. Because I remember sitting when I was younger, and even as a teenager, I would go grab my dad's records for the soundtracks for Star Wars, Empire Strikes, and Return of the Jedi, and just listen to them over and over again because I love soundtracks. And being able to play a game that has this soundtrack playing in such a great quality,
Yeah.
to me, is just like there's nothing better, nothing better at all.
I especially liked it whenever they had the background music to be played through the menu. So if you just want to,
Yes.
Yes.
if you just want to go straight to just like, what, I don't have time to get to this level. I just want to jam out for a bit and just put it in TV full blast until Ma came in to tell you to turn it down.
That's what I
It's
like
like
about some of those games. They had the sound test or the music choice, or not choice, but you go into the settings and you can actually look at the music for a bit and just chill with it if you really wanted to. So
Yes.
that's really cool. I agree. Those games are amazing.
yes, yeah. I know people say they're hard, but you just gotta play them. I'd love to
Um,
play them on stream, but I'm like I'm nowhere near as good as I was, and I probably just use the debug code just to have the whatever, and then just go ahead and just start playing.
I
I
mean, they
haven't.
are hard, but
I gotta beat them one day.
yeah, they are hard, but it's not frustrating. Like it's
No,
just enough level, like you can do it, and that's what I appreciate about those games. And they're a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So
for
play
sure.
them if you haven't played them. The audience, I'm talking to you.
Yeah. Well, if you think about like hard games, right? I know a lot of people say that Lion King's hard. There's only like one stage that's really hard, and it's that water level with the freaking with the logs coming down, and you have to make the jumps. That's the only part that's really hard. I
Which
mean, if
one?
you for Lion King,
Oh, I hated the cantaloupe, or not. What is it? The where they chase you.
the antelope part, yeah, where they're like, yeah, they're
Yeah, that
you're
took me
having
a while, but I liked that game though. A lot of people hated it. I'm like,
I couldn't get through it, unfortunately. But boy, did I try.
yeah, the antelope definitely took a lot of my lives.
yeah. Well, once you get the pattern, because it's always the same. It's not actually randomly generated.
Hmm.
That part's not bad because like after that. After you do the water stage with him as the little Simba and you get him as older and he's going through the jungle, that's not too
Yeah,
bad. And then like the part when you get to Scar can be frustrating because you have to do the whole animation of throwing him off the ledge.
yeah,
And so you have to like beat him up enough to get his stamina down to be able to get him to that area and jump over him so he'll come at you and then you can throw him off. But sometimes
hmm,
the AI goes, "No, I'm gonna go back this way." It's like, dang it, get back here.
yeah. I think that game's a lot easier. The one that I think that really is cheap is Toy Story, especially when you get to the stupid Pizza Planet.
Hmm.
Like it's just cheap as, or even the RC stage. That level is the controls is so terrible, and like, but yeah, it's a fun game. But there's some cheap, really cheap parts in that game that could just take all your lives at the very end. So
I don't think I've ever played that one.
I don't
yeah.
think I have either.
I played a little bit.
Oh,
I never played it to completion because it was just like I was at somebody's house and it was like the only thing they had. And I was like, all right, I want to just want to check it out because we're doing something. And it was cool. I mean,
mhm.
if you think about like how the graphics were for Donkey Kong Country, it was a very similar aesthetic with
Mhm.
the sprite style and everything. Not the
Yeah,
gameplay, but
yeah. The gameplay was kind of garbage in some spots, but in other spots it's really tight and good. It made no sense. Like, did they just outsource it to different develop? They may have done that, like
hmm
different stages and stuff to get done quicker. I don't know,
Hmm.
but
yeah.
um, because it really felt different in some stages compared to others. It was kind of strange, but
So I guess going into the last part of this, if you could recommend the console to somebody, what would be 5 games that you would recommend them to try to pick up and play? Whether it be emulation through the virtual console for the Super Nintendo, I mean for the Switch, maybe they have the Wii and they bought a couple games. Or if like no, money was no object, uh,
Ooh.
if these come in green eyes.
Yeah, my five recommendations would be, you know, just listen in any order, guys. But I'm still gonna say Final Fantasy 3, this first one, just because one of my favorite RPGs. Time to play Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Mega Man X, and Donkey Kong Country. Those would
Mhm.
be my recommendation for anyone's like, which one should I was like, go with these beautiful soundtrack, amazing gameplay, platforming RPG, just before Metrovania was a thing, just play straight up Metroid. It's just beautiful.
Okay. Are we going on the premise of have they ever played a video game in their life, or are they like veteran video games? I feel like that could.
Because
Uh,
yeah, Super Metroid can be a little bit of a bit much.
I
I
guess
mean,
you're right. I
I
uh-huh.
loved
mean,
it.
I did too. Hey, I just played through it like this last week, so
It's amazing still.
Hmm.
um, it's up to you. Like, remember,
Okay.
if like say like you got a coworker that say, hey man, I got a little extra money in, I want to get a Super Nintendo. I never had one as a kid. What would you recommend to me?
All right.
yeah, kind of situation.
Okay, so one, of course, would be Donkey Kong Country. Two, you just had to do it. Super Mario World, you just have to
Yeah.
do it.
Hmm.
Three, let's go Chrono Trigger. I have to get at least RPGs in there. Um, Four, let's go Turtles in Time. They have to have a beat 'em up, at least a
Oh,
co-op
yeah.
game to play with someone they know. For the fifth one, that one we gotta go Street Fighter. Street Fighter. Just because I feel like you hit all the genres right there. Get them into everything, especially if they're new to gaming. So
Hmm.
Hello, sampler platter. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense. All right. So Super Metroid was going to be one of my choices too, just because if you want to get into that adventurous, get
Horror,
lost, or
sci-fi horror. Yeah.
exactly. So that it would be number one. Not this is not in any particular order either. Final Fantasy two, although three is arguably the better one for a lot of people. Two is I find a little bit more accessible and it's a little shorter, especially if you want to get started in RPGs and you haven't yet. That's a good starter point. Uh, Zelda 3. I mean, to the best. Let's go. One of the best action RPGs on the system itself.
Hmm.
Um, Turtles in Time would have been nice, but there is a couple others that are really good, like the Final Fate or Rebel Turf. So I'd probably put the almost any beat 'em up would probably get you in there. But I would say if you're going to go that route, Final Fate, it's probably a good starting point
Oh,
besides Turtles. And then for number five, um, I would go with Yoshi's Island. If you're
oh.
not, if you want to try a whole different style of a Super Mario RPG, Super
Mhm.
Mario game, play that one. Uh, Try to be a
So
little bit fun with that.
yeah, yeah, no, no, and it's cool to like come up with ideas. So like I'm gonna cheat here just a little bit. So like there is a cart that is Super Mario World with All Stars on it in one package. So you not only get the first three Mario games, you get Super Mario World. So that's one.
Oh,
Hmm.
sweet.
Because it does exist.
It
That's a
does,
good way
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah. That way you get Mario. You can't have a
Yeah.
console without Mario,
I
right?
mean,
And
I
Exactly.
almost thought about that one too, the Super Mario All Stars.
yeah.
That's a good one.
Um I think Turtles in Time would is the easiest to get into for a beat 'em up. It's fun. It has a little bit of toughness, but if you work at it and you learn the patterns of the foot
Mm.
soldiers and everything, you can get through that game no problem.
Yeah.
And it's two player. Because
Hmm.
if you think about it, like they bought, like think about they maybe they have a wife or a girlfriend, and they bought the Super Nintendo with two controllers, and they're looking for something they can do together as well as play by themselves. Zelda's going to be on there, of course. Link's the Past. You have to have that game. Um, it is the best of both worlds as far as like the essence of an RPG, but more of a action oriented. And the game's not tough at all. And there's so much to explore, and you can do tons of speed runs or whatever if you want to get good at the game. But okay, so and then let me see. RPG. You know what? As much as I want to tell everyone about the Lord and Savior that is Chrono Trigger and all the greatness of the gospel of Chrono and the savior of the world and time and space itself. I'm making my wife laugh over here beside you guys.
He
I would
made the
sit
ship in art class, by the way.
I did. I made the epoch and I never got it. I never got it back from that teacher.
Oh, that's not
I
cool.
literally made so we our last project in high school, and we're going to San Antonio here, was to make a clay sculpture or whatever.
Yeah.
And I literally made the epoch and
Yeah.
lit her down with the wings and everything. and she was going to bake it, and I was supposed to paint it. Well, she got delayed because she was like, "Look, I'll let you keep working on this, and you can come and get it like the next school year. Just come up to the school, talk to the staff in the administration building, and then like she'll come over. Mrs. Perkins, really cool teacher. She let us get away with murder in that class,
Yeah.
but I sat there and made this like epoch that like the wingspan was this, and then like it had the everything. It was fully detailed.
It was nice, dude. My goodness.
The only thing I couldn't do was replicate like having Chrono and them inside of it, so I just made the dome and then I had
Yeah.
the top fan, and I never got. And I think it was the fact that it was the coolest one in the out of the whole everybody in the classroom, and she kept it.
She was like, "This is
Oh,
mine now."
This is mine now.
We just didn't know she was a Chrono Trigger fan. That's
Oh
all.
yeah, I just didn't know that. Yeah.
so I
Uh,
do have a question. What happens if you hate this coworker and you just want to recommend them 5 terrible games that are on the SNES and
how
hype
how
them up?
how many times can you give them Bubsy? No.
Oh, dude.
So let me get my last two.
Oh,
Let me get my last two. I would going to RPGs, probably Mario RPG. It's fun, it's
Yeah.
quirky, it has very similar art style as far as like some of the aesthetic and the look is like Donkey Kong Country. But has that Mario twist with RPG elements, and it's fun. And I think that would be something that would be good for them to sit down and play together. And then the last one is hard because it is either Super Metroid or Castlevania 4. I think you get more out of Metroid than you would Super Castlevania 4. So I'd probably go Super Metroid.
That's an awesome list.
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. To Dai's question, and then we're gonna wrap up the episode. Let's say two bad games. Let's just keep it down the short. Two bad
Okay.
games that
Oh
you could
my
recommend.
God. That's actually a harder question.
It
I
is because
mean,
I can't think of anything I played that was bad, even though and I know there's bad games on the system.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mine
like
would be
the
Ghost
Bruce Lee
Nightmare.
one. So
Oh yeah, Dragon the
And
Bruce Lee story. Yeah.
yeah, that one would be. And then the other one would probably be We're Back, a Dinosaur Story. I hated that game.
love the
Oh
movie
man.
though.
That's fair. I would say less really unlikely. It is such a weird. I don't know if it's a bad game per se, but like if you're expecting an adventure that feels a lot like Prince of Persia and things like that, oh boy, go back to Prince of Persia. I'd say it's just an odd game. Probably one of the bad games I recommend on some people, I suppose. The only other one I can think of, it's not necessarily a bad game, but when it's compared to its predecessor, and that's ActRaiser 2. ActRaiser 1 was such a superior game. You had the simulation where you're building the town and doing things like that, and then you had the side missions where you're doing the side scrolling. They got rid of the simulation part in part two. That's what made it kind of a downgrade. Not totally bad, but I guess bad enough in my opinion. There's probably worse games on that system, and I just can't think of any right now.
The only
So,
one, only thing I could think of at the moment is that Terminator 2 Judgment Day game, that the side-scrolling beat 'em up that was just so
Oh,
god
yeah.
awful. That
That
was
one is yeah.
that I mean compared to like Terminator and Terminator 2 Arcade and Terminator RoboCop, that
Hmm.
one Terminator game was bad, really bad. And I know that's the one that they're taking inspiration for the new Terminator game. It looks amazing. That's coming out soon. Uh, I can't think of any other thing at the moment. I could think of other games on other systems that are bad that I could recommend to
Yeah.
somebody, but man, yeah, because Judge Dredd was great, Demolition Man was great, Stargate was great. I can't. Um, yeah, I can't think of another game at the moment.
Yeah, it's a very hard question.
Yeah.
It is.
I think we filled our memories with a lot of good gameplay.
You know what we did talk about? Mode 7, how amazing that was for the console and what it brought to the table. And did y'all ever see some of the hacks that people have done on like some of the emulators like that change the Mode 7 to look even better and high def? I'll send you guys a link to that, but
Oh, I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
very curious.
it's really really cool. Um and I think they were working on a mod that would allow it to be able to run on the actual Super Nintendo hardware, but I don't know where it went. It's been years. I think my buddy Andrew was the one who told me about it originally.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, anything else, guys, before we wrap up the episode?
No, not from me.
Great system, great controller.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's kind of upside down, but
Hmm.
one of the best controllers. So good to use. Highly recommend if you have not yet played a Super Nintendo in any way, shape, or form. There's many different ways of doing it now. There's emulation. There's the SNES Mini. There's a Switch, which you can do with the online stuff. There's a lot of different ways. If you haven't checked it out, do so. You're not going to regret it. There's a lot of good games on there.
And the cool thing is that you can actually get some pretty good third party controllers that actually replicate the color scheme that was in Japan and Europe that we didn't get instead of just
Yeah.
the blue and purple, purple and gray and
Yeah.
or the
I
two
had a
tones of purple.
one. It was like ASCII. I forget. ICI.
Hmm.
And that controller is good. It still does good today, to
Mhm.
be honest.
Yeah, especially the one with the turbo controller made things so much
Yeah.
easier
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're playing Gradius. Even though you had the massive slowdown, Gradius is a great game too. We didn't talk about that. There's
So a
some
lot of good shooters on that
great
system
shooters
too.
on there.
Really is.
Talk about Metal Warriors is just hidden gem that is amazing, made by LucasArts, and you pilot a mech like Gundam.
So
Yeah,
many good games.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, how much is a SNES going for these? Like, if someone would want to get into it right now, how much
I
it
was
would?
I was just talking to Wubs about that last night.
Huh?
And it's anywhere between 60 to 120 bucks,
That
depending
ain't bad.
on
You
yeah,
know, that's not
condition.
terrible.
It's not too bad,
Um,
actually.
Now, like if you're gonna go for like complete in box, you're looking anywhere between 175 to 250, depending.
Okay,
Which
like,
still isn't bad, I mean, considering, but I don't even know what it would be like new
yeah.
condition or like new condition.
Okay.
But let us know down below what your favorite Super Nintendo games are, what your memories are of the console, as well as what would you recommend to somebody your top 5 games. Guys, thank you for hanging out, coming on the show, talking about our one of our favorite consoles of all time, the impact it left. And that was on a maybe we come back for another episode because there is much more to kind of cover on the system itself, some of the peripherals, like yeah, literally the impact of the console with the gaming franchises going forward, or just consoles in general.
Yeah.
Because
Could even. Oh, sorry.
well, yeah, because of the fact that like we almost had the PlayStation be the actual next successor to that console when it would have been the Nintendo PlayStation instead of Sony's PlayStation.
No
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
joke.
That's
But
true.
Man, Nintendo would have had nothing to fear after that because I'm sure
No.
Microsoft still would have done the same mistakes.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
come on, dude, if that Nintendo had like Final Fantasy, Metal Gear, uh some of the other games we got later on, they would have been unstoppable. Then Sega would have died
Yeah.
Oh,
sooner. But
Oh, of course, Sega.
yeah.
Um,
They
but
would
there's so
own
many
Sony
deep
for
dives
now.
you can do on that system in the games. Like you
Yeah.
talk about each game, especially the RPGs, all by itself because of how deep they were on that system.
yeah.
Um,
So, but yeah, everyone, thanks for hanging out. Thanks guys for being here. Have a great one, everyone. See you next episode. Peace out.
Is